Most people believe danger exists somewhere far away. Another city, another country, some distant location beyond the edge of familiarity. Home feels different. It feels predictable, routine, safe. We know the streets. We recognize the neighbors. We understand the patterns of daily life. But in some cases, people disappear within walking distance of where they lived, in neighborhoods, on nearby roads, and along familiar paths. Despite immediate search efforts and community awareness, each case remains unresolved or deeply contested. Sometimes the greatest mysteries are not far away. Sometimes they happen just around the corner. In May 1996, 19-year-old college student Kristen Smart attended an off-campus party near California Polytechnic State University in San Luis Obispo. It was the end of the academic year. Students were preparing for summer break. The gathering was informal, with classmates moving between apartments and houses within walking distance of campus housing. Kristen was last seen in the early hours of May 25, 1996. Several students later reported that she appeared intoxicated and needed assistance walking home. She was accompanied part of the way by fellow student Paul Flores, who claimed he walked her toward her dormitory building, Muir Hall. That building was located only a short distance from the party. According to statements, Flores said he left her near the entrance and returned to his own residence. Kristen never made it inside her dorm room. Her personal belongings, including her keys and wallet, were later found in her room. There was no indication she had packed or planned to leave. The distance between the party location and her dormitory was less than a mile. Search efforts began quickly. Law enforcement conducted ground searches, canine searches, and multiple interviews. The case drew widespread attention throughout California. Over the years, investigators executed search warrants at several properties connected to Paul Flores and his family. Technological advances, including soil testing and forensic analysis, were applied decades later. In 2022, Paul Flores was convicted of Kristen Smart's murder, though her remains have never been recovered. The case is often referenced as a disappearance that occurred within sight of campus housing, in an area students considered safe. She was within walking distance of home. She never arrived.
On February 14, 2000, 9-year-old Asha Degree disappeared from her home in Shelby, North Carolina. Asha lived with her parents and older brother in a quiet residential neighborhood. There were no signs of disturbance inside the house. The doors were locked. Everything appeared normal. Sometime between 2:30 and 3 a.m., Asha left her bedroom. It was a cold, stormy night. Her family later reported that she had gone to bed at her usual time. When her mother checked on the children later that morning, Asha was gone. What makes this case particularly unusual is that multiple motorists reported seeing a young girl walking alone along Highway 18, less than a mile from her home. One truck driver turned around to check on her. According to a statement, the girl ran into nearby woods when he approached. Search teams later discovered items believed to belong to Asha in a shed along the highway route she had taken. 18 months later, her backpack was found wrapped in plastic and buried off another roadway approximately 26 miles away. Investigators have long maintained that Asha likely left the house voluntarily, but encountered danger after leaving her neighborhood. There were no confirmed signs of forced entry at her home. Her disappearance occurred within walking distance of her front door. Despite nationwide media coverage, age-progressed images, and renewed investigative efforts over the years, Asha Degree has never been found. Her case remains one of the most puzzling child disappearances in modern North Carolina history. She vanished close to home, in the early hours of the morning, leaving behind only questions. On January 24, 2006, 24-year-old Jennifer Kessie failed to arrive at work in Orlando, Florida. Jennifer lived alone in a condominium complex near her workplace. She had recently returned from a trip and had resumed her normal routine. When she did not answer phone calls from family and coworkers, concern escalated quickly. Her vehicle was later discovered parked at a nearby apartment complex less than a mile from her residence. Security footage from that complex captured an unidentified person parking Jennifer's car and walking away. The recording was brief and grainy. The individual's face was obstructed by fence posts in every available frame, preventing identification despite enhancement attempts. Jennifer herself was never seen on camera that morning. Investigators believe she likely disappeared either inside her condominium complex or very close to it. There were no signs of forced entry inside her home. Personal items, including her phone and keys, were missing. Extensive searches were conducted in surrounding wooded areas, lakes, and construction zones. Over the years, the case has seen renewed investigative reviews and independent legal efforts by her family. Despite surveillance evidence and sustained attention, Jennifer Kessie remains missing. Her car was found within a short drive from home. The final confirmed movement was recorded nearby. But what happened between her front door and that parking lot remains unknown.
On July 8, 2020, actress Naya Rivera rented a pontoon boat at Lake Piru in Ventura County, California. The lake was a familiar recreational area for residents of Southern California. It was not far from where she lived. She brought her 4-year-old son with her for what appeared to be a routine afternoon outing. According to rental records, the boat left the dock mid-afternoon. Several hours later, when the boat did not return on schedule, staff began searching the lake. The boat was found drifting. Her son was discovered asleep on board. He later told investigators that he and his mother had gone swimming and that she had helped him back onto the boat. She never climbed back in. Search and rescue teams began a multi-day operation involving divers, sonar equipment, and aerial surveillance. Lake Piru is known for strong currents and limited underwater visibility. Conditions can change quickly. After several days of searching, authorities located her body submerged in the lake. Investigators concluded that the incident was a tragic drowning. Officials stated that Rivera likely used her remaining strength to push her son back onto the boat before disappearing beneath the surface. Although the case was resolved with the recovery of her remains, the event occurred close to home, in a place considered routine for recreation. It was a short trip, a nearby lake, an ordinary summer afternoon. Within hours, the situation changed. The final confirmed timeline was reconstructed through rental records and witness statements. A familiar location, a sudden loss.
On October 2, 2018, 26-year-old Kiera Coles disappeared from Chicago, Illinois. Kiera was a United States Postal Service employee and was approximately 3 months pregnant at the time of her disappearance. She lived on the south side of Chicago and was last seen near her home. According to family members, she left her residence that morning dressed in her postal uniform. However, USPS later confirmed she did not report to work that day. Her car was found parked near her apartment building. Security footage from nearby residences captured images believed to show Kiera walking outside close to her home during the early morning hours. After that, there were no further confirmed sightings. Her phone stopped communicating with cellular networks shortly thereafter. Investigators conducted searches in nearby vacant lots, abandoned properties, and surrounding neighborhoods. Law enforcement also reviewed hours of surveillance footage from the area. Despite local and national attention, no arrests have been made. The case remains open. Her disappearance occurred steps away from her own front door. Family members continued to advocate for information and renewed investigative attention. The distance between her apartment and where she was last recorded was minimal, A familiar block, a routine morning, a disappearance that has never been explained.
Home represents stability, routine, predictability. In each of these cases, the distance between safety and uncertainty was measured in blocks, not miles. A walk back to a dormitory, a neighborhood highway, an apartment parking lot, a nearby lake, a city street outside an apartment building. These were not distant journeys. They were short movements within familiar surroundings. And yet, each became the starting point of a mystery, or in some cases, a tragedy. If you are interested in documentary-style examinations of unresolved and complex cases, you can explore previous episodes in this series. Some disappearances happen far from home. Others begin just outside the front door.